Number spelled by Nebuchadnezzar. 2 Z's. Who knew? Hi, I'm Jordan with Cackleberry Games. We've been working hard this past year on our first game, Gardens of Babylon. As we get ready to bring the game to Kickstarter, we wanted to make this video to show you how to play and highlight some of the unique elements that are in the game. Gardens of Babylon is a Euro-style strategy game with a 2D, 3D modular board. Available for 1 to 4 players, each game lasts about 45 to 60 minutes. In this video, we'll go over all of the components, I'll show you initial game setup, and then we'll dive into the 4 steps of a player turn and show you how to win. Let's get started. In Gardens of Babylon, there's only 5 components that you need to worry about. First, the gardeners. Represented by these colored meeples, these are the workers that you'll move around the board to claim territory. Second, the seeds. As the seeds of your guild's signature flower, these are what you'll plant on the board to claim points at the end of the game. Third, the base tiles. These provide a solid foundation for the ziggurat. Fourth, the modular board tiles. These are what you'll place as you build the ziggurat up. Lastly, the double-sided scoring tiles. They won't see much use during the game, but at the end, they'll tell you who won. In Gardens of Babylon, setup is determined by 2 things: the number of players, and whether you're playing the full game or the quick game. The length of the game determines how many base tiles you will use, and the length of the game plus the number of players determines how many meeples each player gets. For this video, we'll be doing a quick game with 4 players. For a quick game, we remove one of the base tile sections and attach the rest, creating a base tile that is 10 hexes long. Then, because our game has 4 players, we'll give each player 3 meeples, along with all the seeds of their meeple color. Lastly, we shuffle the ziggurat tiles together into one stack and deal out the top 4, creating the communal pool from which everyone will play. We can set aside the scoring tiles for now, we won't need those again until later. That's it for setup, so let's jump into how to play, starting with the most important point, how to win. In Gardens of Babylon, the winner is the player with the most points. Seeds planted on the board at the end of the game are worth points, with seeds planted towards the top of the ziggurat worth more than seeds planted towards the bottom. On the first row, seeds are worth 1 point, second, 2, 3 on the third, and so on. Additionally, seeds planted on tiles with decorative flowers are worth bonus points, with the number of bonus points being equal to the number of flowers. Plant your guild's seed in the most valuable location and walk away victorious. I'll show you how to do that when I explain the player turns, but to do that, I'll need to build a little bit more of a ziggurat. So give me a day, and unlike Rome, I'll get it built. Now that we've got a little bit more of a ziggurat to work with, we'll walk you through how to play the game. On a player's turn, there are 4 steps: place, move, plant, and draw. The first step, placement. A player must select one of the tiles from the communal pool and place it onto the ziggurat. 2 rules to keep in mind. First, it must be placed directly above 2 existing tiles. It cannot be placed dangling off of 1 or 2 off to the side. It must be supported. The second rule is that it must be oriented correctly with the terrace towards the top. Keep these 2 rules in mind, then it's just a matter of deciding if you want to place one to help yourself or hinder your opponent. Once a player has placed a tile, they may move one of their gardeners. They make a choice. The first option is they may select one of their gardeners from their supply and place it onto any terrace on the base tiles. The second option, they select a gardener that is already on the board. In either case, this becomes their active gardener and may move up to 3 times. Movement is from a tile to an adjacent tile, specifically from a terrace to a terrace. Movement must also follow a legal pathway, which means down a staircase, up a staircase, or laterally through an archway. There are 2 additional rules to keep in mind while moving. The first is that if you move onto a tile that does not have a seed planted, your gardener's movement is reduced to 0 and you must stop. The second rule is that if you move onto a tile that already contains one of your gardeners, then your active gardener's movement is reset back to 3 from that point. Once a gardener has finished moving, the player may plant a seed in that tile. To plant a seed, simply take one from your supply and place it into the water pool in the middle of the tile. You may not plant if there's already a seed planted there. When you plant, you have the opportunity to start a cascade. A cascade sets up a chain reaction, allowing you to plant additional seeds in subsequent tiles down the ziggurat, provided they're connected by an unbroken waterway. This chain reaction may happen in either direction, and may continue as far as you like, again provided they are unbroken waterways. Seeds planted by cascade replace any seed that has been previously planted in those tiles, making it the only way to replace another player's seeds. And although those seeds go back into their supply, the points are now yours. The final step in a player's turn is to draw a new tile from the stack and place it face up in the communal pool. Play then passes to the left, and it's the next player's turn to try and get those points back. The game ends when, at the end of the last player's turn, the number of spaces available to play a tile is less than the number of players in the game. At that point, the game ends and we move on to scoring. For the scoring, take the scoring track tiles and place them adjacent to the ziggurat with the numbers corresponding to the row that they're next to. 1 next to the first row, 2 next to the second row, etc., all the way up to the top. Then, take an extra meeple from each player and place it on 0 on the scoring track. As you count the seeds on the board, move the meeples up the scoring track to figure out which player is ahead and which player is not. As a brief example, white here has 1, 2, 3, plus 2 bonus flowers for a total of 5 points on the scoring track. Once you've scored everyone's points, you'll know which gardening guild has gained the most glory. And that's it. That's all you need to know for how to play Gardens of Babylon. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be bringing this game to Kickstarter soon. To keep up to date, learn more about our progress, and get involved with our community, please join our Facebook group with a link in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll see you in Babylon.